Hello, how you doing? I'm saying hello from Zoom and hello from Facebook Live. I have Zoom that's going to be going live right at 7:30, and I think we have a couple of minutes. So if you are already joining from Facebook, that sounds great. My computer was acting crazy for a minute. I finally got it set to go, and I'm thankful for that. So I don't see anybody joining here live as of yet. I know I've got somebody in the waiting room on Zoom, but we're extremely happy to have you here. Hi, Ruby. You're the first person that's come in on Facebook Live. We are also doing this live on Zoom, so I'm going to be looking at several cameras while we're doing this. And we want to make sure that we're able to share information. Hi, Cordelia, and let's see, Ruby. I guess Ruby, I've got you in a couple places, but anyway, let's see. Let me go ahead and admit them to the waiting room because I've got people listening from two different platforms. Welcome for those of you that are listening on Zoom, and welcome for those of you that are listening on Facebook. We're excited to be here, and we're excited to be sharing information with you. This information will hopefully expand the number of nonprofits and entrepreneurs, and even help some of those who are in career limbo. You're feeling like you need another career, even helping some of you guys to get ready for that 21st century, for the 21st century workforce. I was looking at a website just yesterday about 21st century workforce, the 21st century workforce, and different jobs that will be available in the top 100 jobs. The majority of those jobs require a bachelor's degree. There was 3 or 4 of them on there that did not, but there's also a lot of other jobs out there that will pay a livable income. Those jobs you work a little bit harder on. So we're going to talk about some of those things. And tonight, what I'm going to cover is basically the difference, kind of the difference between the for-profit and nonprofit. Welcome, Brenda, Jennifer, all those of you that are coming in. We want to kind of talk about the differences between the for-profit and nonprofit. And I taught business education for 14 years, so a lot of things I learned there because I did so much research with those students to make sure that they had everything that they needed. And a lot of things I already knew before I got there because I had started a business after graduating college and had been in business up until 2004. So I had 16 years of hands-on business. And the difference between me and most entrepreneurs is that our businesses were started from scratch, started from the kitchen sink to an award-winning ink. I always say that when I'm at my workshops. And that means that I have some experiences that some entrepreneur trainers don't have, and that is starting from the bottom up. So what I try to teach in my classes and what I try to teach in my workshops is the finally made easy methods, methods to help you want to go ahead and get started. So as I said, today we're going to talk about the differences between the nonprofit and the for-profit business. And you'll see me looking back and forth between two cameras because I have some people that are on here from live from Zoom, from LinkedIn, and I have some people on here live from Facebook. And I'm going to determine which one of these platforms that we're going to use from here on out. I like Zoom because I can add it to a podcast and allow you to go back and look at it later and do all of those type things. So that's why I'm kind of unsure as to which one of these platforms I'm definitely going to use. A lot of people are saying do the podcast and all of this. So I want to make sure that I use the best possible platform. And thank you guys for all the encouragement, and thank you for even trusting me enough to come in here to believe that I'm going to say something of value. And what I want to tell you is no matter what business you're starting, whether it's a nonprofit or a for-profit, there's a formula that you need to know, the accounting equation. And I know that if you are an accountant, you'll say that the nonprofit equation is a little different than the for-profit equation. But I tell you, you need to understand that equation, whether you are a for-profit or nonprofit. And I have a basic, simple explanation of that equation. And that is what you take in minus what you pay out is going to be what you have left. So basically, that is the accounting equation. What you take in minus what you pay out is going to be what you have left. So you need to be very careful of that when you are starting a business. A lot of times people start businesses and they end up spending more than what they're bringing in, and you know, because maybe they'll have a big contract, and this big contract comes in, and you may not get another contract for, you know, 2 or 3 months, and it may not, you know, it may not work for you. And someone just called in and may have messed up my Zoom, so I'm trying to get back to my Zoom recording. Oh my goodness. Let's see.
Details, press 1.
I've got my my Zoom recording seems to be gone haywire for those people that are on LinkedIn, and I'm trying to get them back on here. Let me see if I can get back to the LinkedIn for Zoom. But anyway, you want to make sure that you know that accounting equation and that you are ready for that. So what you take in minus what you pay out is going to be what you have left, and you have to be very careful of that. For your nonprofits, the difference between the nonprofit and the for-profit is another set of simple terms. A for-profit has profit and loss. They have profit and loss. They have money that they make, and or they can lose money. The nonprofit has surplus and deficit. If they have taken in more money than what they've spent out, they have a surplus. If they take in less money than what they spend out, they have a deficit. So you might say, well, there's no difference between the profit and the loss. Well, the profit and the surplus, or the deficit and the loss, I'm going to tell you, there's not much difference. It feels the same regardless. I've had both a for-profit and a nonprofit, and it feels the same. If you don't take in enough to pay your bills, you got a loss. Whether they call it a deficit or a loss, you got a loss. So you want to be careful of that. You don't want to start a nonprofit just thinking, oh, this money's going to come in and I don't have to worry about nothing. No, it does not work like that. You would have to have, for a for-profit, you need a business plan. And with that business plan, I'm sorry, I'm still trying to find my people who got cut off on LinkedIn. I feel so bad for them for that, but I'm certainly trying to get back to them, but it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to do it. But anyway, for your business plan, let's see. Okay, so that's going to be a problem with my LinkedIn people. I'm just sorry. They'll have to find me on Facebook. If any of you are in here on LinkedIn and you can put something on LinkedIn about this, I don't think it would matter because we don't all have the same friends, so I don't think it's going to work. But as far as the business plan is concerned, and as far as grants are concerned for your nonprofit or fundraising for your nonprofit, with a nonprofit, you need goals, you need objectives, you need your implementation plan, you need your evaluation plan, you need your outcomes, you need a timeline, you need your management, you need your dissemination plan, your sustainability, and you need your budget. You need those same things with your for-profit business. So you might say, well, what is the goal? I'll tell you what your goals are. Your goals is, what are you going to do? It's as simple as that. You're answering a question as to what you're going to do. Your objectives is, how are you going to get it done? This is my Big 10. This is a lot of what I teach in the class. How are you going to get it done? The implementation. What do you mean about an implementation? The implementation is, what is your time frame or your steps? Are you going to have phase 1, phase 2, phase 3? Are you going to have part 1, part 2, part 3? You kind of have to know what it is that you're going to get done. A lot of times you're going to do case management. You're going to do an intake, and then you're going to do case management, and then you're going to do something else after that. So you have to have those steps as to what you're going to do. A lot of people are interested in doing transitional housing and some of those things. Well, you have to have steps as to how you're going to do it. If you're going to do transitional housing, what's your process? Are you going to have an intake where the people come in and they fill out an application, and then you have case management to where once they fill out that application, you are sending them here, there, and yonder? You have to have systems for that. And all of these things that I'm talking about, you can do the same thing in business, but it has a different name, which I'll go over that as soon as I'm done with the nonprofit. The evaluation, how will you measure your success? Whether you're doing a for-profit or a nonprofit, you need to be able to measure your success. With the for-profit, you want to measure where your customers are coming from. And with the nonprofit, I got a secret for you. You got two different customers. You got your customers that you're serving, and then you got your customers that's going to donate money. So you have to not only please your customers you're serving, but you have to also please those customers that's going to donate you money. So your marketing is a little bit tougher than the marketing for a for-profit business. So you want to definitely keep that in mind as you are developing a marketing plan for a nonprofit. Your outcomes. What do you expect your success to look like? Now, I'm mainly talking to the nonprofits at this point. What is your success? Your timeline. Now we come to the management portion of it. Now, as far as your implementation, you're going to have a timeline in there too, which tells you when you're going to do the intake, when you're going to do the case management, when you're going to do these things. That's a timeline for the actual program. But when we get to this timeline, we're talking about what is management going to do from day to day. What are you going to do the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter? Maybe first quarter you're meeting with your collaborative, and that's all the partners that's going to work with you. Because let me tell you, you cannot do this by yourself. You need a team of people to work with you. I'm working on developing a team myself. You need a team to work with you, and that's not an easy job to get people to work with you. If you're blessed enough to develop a team, you are a blessed person. I look at my little niece Hallie. I don't know her last name, but Hallie always has a team. And I said, sometimes I think she thinks that's easy to do, but that's not. She is a definite leader because she has so many people that are with her at all times. She's telling other people, call your girls. And I'm like, everybody don't have that. That's the leader in you that can pull together a team like that and have them do whatever it is that you would have them to do. Hallie Cook is her maiden name. If somebody knows her other name, give me that other name because I can't think of her new name. Oh, Hallie Fields. I should know that. I see that. Okay, Hallie Fields. But anyway, I see her on Facebook sometimes talking about get your girls or whatever. Everybody, as I said, don't have that. But your timeline, what do you do on what day? Calling all your partners together to work with you. You can't do it by yourself again. Also, you want to make sure that you have your management. Do you have the ability to do it? If you don't have the ability to do it, are you willing to get that education and training in order to get the job done? The dissemination of information. When you're doing a nonprofit, you've got to share that information. And you think, I'm not going to share nothing with anybody. I built this on my own. I'm not going to share. Well, you're not going to get any grants anyway. You might get some other types of funding, but you're probably not going to get any grants. So you got to be willing to share the information. And then sustainability. How are you going to sustain the organization after the grant money is gone? Yes, maybe you get a grant. After that grant is gone, how are you going to sustain? So you got to have a strong board. You got to have, and that's your organizational board. That's the people who make decisions for the organization. You got to have a strong advisory board. That advisory board is that board that helps. They should have the 3 W's: work, wisdom, or wealth. It'd be nice to get a board that has the advisory board member that has all 3, but you definitely want them to have work, wisdom, or wealth, one of those. And they help you to raise funds. Your operating board helps you to raise funds. So you want a board that's willing to help you and that want to come in. And then your budget. Every goal, I don't care whether it's to go to school or whether it's to open a business, every goal has a budget. Every goal has a budget. So that's the 10 things for the nonprofit. And so let me go into the for-profit, which is a shorter list, but just as important. So for you that are interested in a business, I'm not interested in starting a nonprofit. I just want to make the profit. Well, everything has a beginning. Like, this is my beginning for starting this broadcast over again. Wasn't quite sure how this was going to go, but I said yesterday, I've been kind of knocked out at the end of 2019 because we had deaths in the family. We even had an unexpected birth, which was a blessing, but we also had 2 deaths in the family, unexpected, and I kind of got the wind knocked out of me a little bit at the end, and I had to get up yesterday and think, oh, you know what, we got to get this together. One of the funerals hadn't even happened yet, but I've got to get my act together because I don't want the first week of 2020 to go by and I not at least get something done. So that's why I decided that I would go ahead and start this. No matter how rough it was, I was going to go ahead on and start this. And normally I'm going to stop at 7:45, but today I might go about 5 minutes over because I want to make sure that I give you what it takes for a development of a nonprofit and the development of a for-profit. So let me get into that for-profit right quick. For a for-profit, your executive summary, you have your 5 W's. And some of you who have heard me teach in the nonprofit, you have the same thing basically, because the nonprofit grant does have the executive summary. So what are those 5 W's? I know some of you could type them right now. Who, what, when, where, why. Those are those 5 W's. And with that executive summary, you have a mission statement, you have your goals and objectives, you have your financials and your other keys to success. So, and that's part 1. Part 2 is your company summary in that business plan. When you're writing up the business plan for your organization, what is the summary of your company? What is your company all about? And how many seconds should it take for you to say that? Those of you who've been in my classes, you know, within 10 seconds, you should be able to tell somebody what your business is or your nonprofit. And then you add another 30 seconds to it, or you have a total of 30 seconds to be able to give somebody an elevator speech. Really, you only have the first 10. And then if they give you 20 more seconds, then you have that. Now, if you get somebody that really loves what you're doing, then you might have 60 seconds, but you don't have a long time. So you have to be ready to explain what your company is about. And then the third part of a business plan for your business is your program, product, or service, describing that. What is your program, product, or service? The product is something that you're selling. Let's see, 5 W's. Well, okay, you're typing it in. I love those people who take notes as you go. Okay, but what is your program, product, or service? Your program is just a program, and it has an end date, or it could be ongoing. Your product is something that you're selling, because some of you have products that you're going to be able to sell as a for-profit. You can have products as a nonprofit as well. Remember, the Girl Scouts sell cookies. So you can have a product for the for-profit or the nonprofit. And then your marketing analysis. Now, your marketing is who is your group. Now, you have to remember, okay, so we have fast food. In the fast food, if this was a pie, we'd have McDonald's with a lot of the business. We'd have Wendy's with a lot of the business. We'd have Kentucky Fried Chicken with a lot of the business. We'd have Popeyes, who come up out of nowhere with their chicken sandwiches with a lot of business. Well, if you put all of them together, all of these nonprofits, then that's your whole market segment. So how many people go to McDonald's? How many people are going to Popeyes? That becomes your market. And how do you cater to them? You come up with all these creative things, like a chicken sandwich that tastes just like everybody else's, or whatever, but you make it seem so special. So your marketing is extremely important. Now, remember, on the nonprofit side, you got 2 people to market to. You have to market to not only your customer, but also those people who are donating to you. So you got a little bit of a double whammy with the nonprofit, and you might not have thought about that, but you do. But with the for-profit, you've got your regular customer that you are mainly catering to. Number 5, your strategy and implementation. That's how are you going to get this done? What are you going to do first, second, third? Remember, you heard that same thing with the nonprofit. So there's a lot of parallels for the for-profit and nonprofit. And also number 6, for that for-profit, you got a management summary that you've got to look at. And number 7 is your financial plan. Every business, every goal has a budget. Every goal has a budget. Now, remember, I told you that accounting equation for your budget for your business or your nonprofit, what you take in minus what you pay out is going to be what you have left. Whether you take it in from people donating to you or whether you take it in from selling your widgets, it's the same. That's your income minus your expenses, leaves your profit or your surplus or your deficit or loss. If you take in less than what you pay out, you've got a deficit on the nonprofit side, you've got a loss on the for-profit side. So if you are serious about starting your nonprofit or you're for profit, make sure that you get more information. Now, I'm still questioning. And I had someone who had asked me a question, and I wish you could type that question here because I don't have that question here before me. So if you had a question and you want to type it in, was that Keisha James, I think, that had asked a really good question earlier. But if you have questions or you have comments or you have you'd like to see this be longer, let me know, because I'm thinking I'm just doing 15 minutes, but I'm looking at this 15 minutes and it seems like it's rather short. So if you would rather see 30 minutes, hey, type it down there so that I know what I need to do, because I want to make sure that once a week I'm giving some free information that's going to help benefit people as far as inclusion and equity. Because right now in the United States, maybe only less than 5% of the businesses are owned by minorities. And I'm not just catering to minorities. Okay, Kelsha asked me the question, how do nonprofits get individuals to buy in? Okay, and that's such a good question. I'll try to answer that question. The way that nonprofits get individuals to buy in is it has to be something that people feel like is worthwhile. Is it a worthwhile goal? Now, how do you convince people that it's a worthwhile goal? Ask yourself, how did Popeyes convince all of them people to get in line for that chicken sandwich? They told a good story. And I don't mean a lie. I mean a good story. So you have to come up with some good statistics, and statistics is important for everything you do, whether it's a for-profit or a nonprofit. Statistics has to support everything that you say as far as a nonprofit is concerned, when you're trying to convince people to give you their money and buy in. And I tell my nonprofits when they come to my workshops, and I do have a lot of workshops scheduled for this coming up year, if you don't know what your goals and objectives and your implementation plan is, don't go get nobody else and try to bring them into your mess, because what you got is a mess. So you want to make sure that you have your goals, your objectives, your implementation plan. You want to have a skeleton of those things. You want to definitely have your goals. And there in my documents, I had a website that I wanted to send you to if you don't have a good mission statement. You can go to franklincovey.com, and I didn't check that today to make sure that that link was still working, but you could go in and make you a mission statement. Go in and make you a mission statement, because you want to make sure that your mission statement is worded correctly. But that's how you get people to buy in. Hopefully that answered your question some, Kelsha James. I will be on here weekly, and I'm going to do this as long as I feel led to do it. And I'm hoping that we can do the whole 52 weeks of this year. So every Thursday at 7:30, no matter what I'm doing, God give me strength. My intent is to stop and do this 15 to 30 minute broadcast to give you some information on starting a new business. I can't give it all in this short time, but I will give you as much information, as many nuggets as I can, because I want to raise that number of nonprofits in this next decade. We have fallen way down, because in Kansas City, the last decade, we had at least 8% minority businesses. We had more than the nation had. Now we have dropped down. One time I think we were down to 2%. So we lost a lot of businesses during the crash of 2007 and 9 and 9/11. We lost a lot of businesses. So we have to gain some ground. I'm talking about first generation entrepreneurs. I don't care what race or color you are, but I'm talking about first generation entrepreneurs. And I'm also talking about more inclusion and equity for minority entrepreneurs too. I'm not afraid to help minorities as well. So if I can help my minorities and first generation entrepreneurs, I feel like a lot of things that's happening in our country is not just against minorities. I feel like it's hurting middle class. I feel like it's hurting a whole lot of people. And so those people who think that they have an advantage, I sometimes laugh at them, because I'm like, you don't have no advantage, because you don't realize you're being played too. So, I mean, it's happening to all kinds of people. So what I want to do is I want to help with the first generation entrepreneurs and the equity and inclusion. I don't feel like as many of us are using those gifts and talents. And as I told you, I looked at 100 different businesses, 100 different jobs for this upcoming decade, and almost all of those jobs require either a bachelor's degree or higher. And if your child is not considering going to school, they're in trouble. But if they're not majoring in information technology, finance, or business, or healthcare, there was very few jobs in anything else except the skilled jobs, which don't necessarily require the college degree. So if your child is going to major in anything else, they really need to take a look at what job they're actually going after, because then you have to get some other training besides that degree. Please consider that. Please don't let your child go to college and just major in anything just because it's anything. I mean, look at the jobs that are going to be available for them and try to help them connect what they desire to do with something that's going to be available, because otherwise they're probably going to be branding themselves and starting their own business. Ain't nothing wrong with that, because I started my own business right out of college, and the only reason that I started back working for somebody is when I had a head injury in 2004. I'm better now, but now I've got a goal to work with KCPS until I can hopefully help them to get about $100 million. That's my goal for KCPS, and not just to be getting that money. I want them to get that money so that our students in the Kansas City Public Schools are excelling. I want to see them excelling, not just reaching goals, not just getting adequate yearly progress. I want them to exceed the adequate yearly progress. So that's my goal there. And then on the other side of employment, I will go back to entrepreneurship. But now, don't think I don't know nothing about entrepreneurship, because I was an entrepreneur for 16 years and I love entrepreneurship, and I'm still an entrepreneur at heart, and I'm still an entrepreneur. I have a business. So don't think that I don't, but I can give you those experiences, but those experiences are having to be developed, because right now you got a different marketing environment. I have to be online now. I did radio for 20 years, but I have to be online now. And I messed up tonight because I told my LinkedIn people to go to Zoom. And so they missed me. I hope so. Did any of you guys come from LinkedIn? I hope so, because my LinkedIn got lost tonight. So it looks like I'm going to have a couple of people in here working with me when I'm doing these. So as I told you, can't do anything alone. I think that's about it. I appreciate you guys. I hope and pray that this was helpful to you. Come back next week, because I'm going to come back on fire. I'm going to be praying that I get some information that is very helpful to you. I want you to send me your questions. I think one more person sent me a question tonight. If I didn't answer it and you're here, you can send it to me right now, and I'll try to answer it right quick, because otherwise I'm going to get ready to sign off. But send me your questions, and I will do my best to give you a decent answer. You are so welcome, Kelsha James. I thank you for being my first person in this decade to ask a wonderful question. Shani Q, thank you, baby. I'm so excited when I see my nephews and even my son. I really get excited when I see my sons and I see those people who know and love me. Now, I want to tell you one more thing. Thank you, Pat. You're a blessing, Pat. I want to tell you that next Saturday, the 11th, January 11th, I'm getting the Martin Luther King Education Award from the American Business Women's Association. I would love to have some of you attend that with me. It is $40 per person, which is not very much for a fundraising event, because this is actually their fundraiser, but they recognize some people in the community who has kept the Martin Luther King dream alive. And I'm telling you, I'm definitely trying to keep that dream alive. I want to help the Kansas City Public School students as much as I can. And so I'm thankful for that award. It's going to be at the Holiday Inn in the ballroom A and B. You can't just show up. You have to get a ticket. If you go to my website, you can get a ticket. You can't get a ticket, but you can pay, and then I will get your ticket and have it in will call. So if you would like to go to my website. The event is already on there, and get your ticket. I would love to be crying and have tissue and everything that night. So go there, get one. I want to see my family and my friends in the place, but unfortunately, you have to do it by Monday. So if you don't make it, that's okay. It has to be by Monday because they changed the date to January 11th on the plaza. Please sign up if you'd like. I would love to see you all there. And if all minds and hearts are clear, like we at church, I'm out. Love you guys. See you for the next Biz Fest on next Thursday. Have a great one. All right. Thank you, JSC.